Hey there, One Pride Nation. This is Zac
and Brendan,
and we are Lions Basement Banter.
For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. Lions Basement Banter has teamed up with the same jerky that is found at the training facility in Allen Park to bring you the best flavors of the game. Use code LIONSBANTER for 15% off your order at righteousfelon.com. On top of that, any order over $50 automatically qualifies for free shipping. Make sure you try Truffalo Bill. That one's my favorite. Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Jerky so good, it ought to be illegal. Alrighty. Brendan. We are back with another episode. We are in the middle of rookie minicamp even right now, honestly. But it's also Mother's Day weekend. We want to make sure that we remind everybody that. So if you forgot to get something, you better go get that right now. Shout out to my mom and Brendan's as well. Shout out to my wife, the mother of my kids, and whoever's mother of Brendan's kids is.
Not yet.
Not that you know.
Not.
Could be a Michael Jordan going on. Who knows?
No.
Or a Tiger Woods. I don't know. All right. So a couple things we got going on here in Detroit news. CJ Moore, you remember he was basically banned from playing in the NFL last year for violating the their betting rights or their betting agreement or whatever it is.
He gambled.
They're gambling. Yeah, he gambled on NFL games. That's why it was a full year, and that's why J-Mo didn't get a full year because he didn't bet on NFL games. But he was re-signed in Detroit. What do you think about that?
Honestly, if I mean, he's probably just going to be a camp body and a depth piece if they keep him. I mean, he's a special teamer. That's the only thing he's going to be used for, really. I don't see him getting any snaps in the safety room. I don't think it's a bad move necessarily. I think if we were going to bring back somebody off those suspension lists, I'd rather it would have been Quintez Cephas, but
Too late for that.
yeah, he's gone. So that's okay. I mean, I guess it's just a move for depth and familiarity and to mentor some of the young guys, so that's fine. As long as he doesn't, get into trouble again, then we're fine.
Yeah. I think that's probably something that we kind of alluded to anyway. I think we already talked about the fact that there were 3 of them for the Lions that got in trouble, and we were thinking the bookends were the possibilities that we talked about. CJ Moore was one of them, so not a huge surprise. I don't think he really had, it's not really talking bad about him, but I don't really think he had a whole lot of offers elsewhere. I think the Lions were familiar with him, and he's familiar with the Lions, and like you said, it's a good camp body if nothing else. So, all right. A little bit of news came out, and I think Terrion Arnold is actually the one who started this news.
He was. Yeah, he was on a podcast.
Yeah, so he said that the Raiders informed him that pick 13, before pick 13, I believe, right? Or did he say that they told him that afterwards?
They called him after the draft.
Okay, and they basically told him that it was a coin flip between him and Bowers at pick 13. The unfortunate part is their coach came back and actually refuted that and said that they did not say that. They did not call him. That none of that happened. So, do you think that was them saving face so that Bowers still keeps his confidence up, I guess, or what? I mean, what do you make of this? I guess.
I mean, it's always going to be. I'm always going to err on the side of trusting the player, just because those are $1 million corporations essentially that have to save the reputation and look of their product, so to speak. So they're going to say whatever makes them look the best, and what's going to make them look the best, saying that they love the guy that they picked, or saying that they were so indecisive
50-50.
that they had to flip a coin, and then they called the guy afterwards to tell him they flipped a coin. I don't know who the heck called them, but that was stupid on their part.
Yeah, and it might have been somebody just associated with, he said it was coach.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I don't know.
The
I don't
thing
know.
that makes me believe him more is kind of like the same thing with the Panthers and Xavier Leggett when they drafted him. Xavier Leggett was going around before the draft telling everybody the Panthers told him that if he was there at
He was the
33,
guy.
he was the pick.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a good point.
And they were like, no, we told everybody that, but guess who they traded up for to get?
Uh-huh. So yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I think it probably happened in some. There's obviously usually two sides to a story, and you meet in the middle. But I think I meet a little bit closer to Terrion Arnold, not only because he's our guy and it's one pride mentality here, but in Detroit versus everybody. But we're why would he bring what does he gain by bringing that up? You know what I mean? That's such a random, like, oh yeah, by the way, pick 13. Like, that's, you know what I mean? That's so random to to decide you're going to pick on the Raiders. Why? So it probably happened, and I'm glad that coin, if they called heads on Terrion, I'm glad that it landed on tails. So all right, so we got rookie numbers, and those were released. Essentially, they had to release them because we were about to see videos and pictures and stuff of rookie minicamp. They waited literally until the last minute, I think. What do you think about the numbers? I'll just read them off real quick. Terrion Arnold's at 0. Ennis Rakestraw got 15. Giovanni Manu got 59. Sion Vaki, 33. Makai Wingo, 94, and Christian Mahogany, 73. And this is just the ones we drafted, by the way. Obviously, we've got some other, undrafted free agents out there, but these are the ones we drafted that we saw. So
I like Terrion Arnold. I think
that's gonna look
they're already
slick.
calling him Agent Zero.
Oh
and
man,
I love that.
that's so awesome. I love it.
I think that's a clean number. I think honestly, I don't have a problem with anybody. I think should it come down to it somewhere down the line in the future and Manu ends up on the offensive tackle spot, I think it'd be sick to see a 59 and a 58
I was
bookending
thinking
the
that
offensive
same
line.
thing. I thought that same thing when I saw it. That's awesome.
Vaki, that's a pretty. I mean that number is pretty much you attribute 33 to running backs and safeties, which which he's both. So
Yeah.
that fits.
To me, 33 is a good special teams number. I mean, I'm not saying that's all he'll be, but that just looks like a special teams number to me. So
Christian Mahogany just sliding in, taking Jonah Jackson's number from last year. That seems fitting. He's going to play in that guard position. Probably not starting, but he's going to eventually, hopefully, move into a starting role there. And then Ennis Rakestraw at 15. I'm gonna be honest. That's the only one here I don't love.
That one's weird to me. I'll be honest. That's a quarterback number to me.
It's not a quarterback number to me. To me, it's Golden Tate. Every time I see that, I think Golden Tate.
Well, if Rakestraw takes a pick six into the end zone and does a flip over top of some guys, I'll be okay.
Well, if
especially
I want
against
somebody
the Vikings.
wearing 15, it's going to be like a primarily like slot receiver. Like I want to see a Golden Tate wearing 15. I don't want to see. I think Rakestraw. I would rather see him in the single digits or see him in the 20s somewhere. Like I think a 21 would be sick, like the Tracy Walker. I think that would have fit really well, but it's whatever, and no guarantees they're going to keep those numbers anyway. I mean, once people get cut, they're going to have the option to. That's
where I was going. Was just you never know. I mean, Vaki could change from 33. You just don't know. So a lot of the numbers that you would expect Rakestraw to have taken were also taken up too.
Yeah. So. Makai Wingo's the only one I didn't mention. He's 94, and that I don't really have any thoughts on that other than he's Benito Jones's old number. So
I'm just saying the suspenders better come out. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to keep those same outfits. That's for sure.
He won't pull it off as well. So something that's not in our notes, Brendan, I just want to touch on this. And our main event is going to be 10 burning questions that we'll ask here and answer. But something that came up today, I actually saw Woodward Sports. I think it was Heavyweights were actually talking about it. But they mentioned that Manu would possibly be a good swing guard, and they would start him there. And we've talked. I think it's two episodes in a row that we've talked about that actually happening with him. Do you think that he's Decker's replacement eventually? Because that's kind of what they were pushing, was that he'd be Decker's replacement. What I kind of saw was, I think we're going to ease him in a little slower than that. I know Decker's on, I think this is his contract year, but I see Manu as more of a replacement for Dan Skipper, actually. I almost see that being the role that he steps into first, and then eventually Decker. But I think
I don't even think
I don't know.
I don't even think he's anybody's replacement right now. I just think he's good depth on the offensive
Someone we
line.
just grabbed in the draft.
Yeah, I don't think he's anyone's replacement. I think
Okay.
Dan Skipper's been so good at what he does, his role on this team
Mhm.
for such a I don't want to say long time, for a few years
Few
now.
years. Yeah. Yep. That's a long time in the NFL sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think the only way he could get thrown out of that spot is if he's commanding more money than what he's worth, and they decide that they want Manu there because he's on a rookie deal and he can play almost the same way, but he's just not going to cost him as much, and that's the business side.
Yeah.
But I honestly I think they can find a way to keep Skipper and Manu on that line and keep them on the 53-man roster, so that because I think both of those guys, either one would get eaten up by somebody if they were to hit the practice squad.
That wouldn't. I thought you were gonna say they'd get eaten up if they were on the field, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't think that's happening.
No.
So I don't have a clip of it, but while we're talking about Manu, we'll kind of move on a little bit, but I agree with you there. That's why. But I saw a clip, and it was during the media time of Manu, for the rookie minicamp, and the guy basically said, he stays. This isn't a quote. I'm just going off memory, but basically that he stays hungry, and if there's a guy that's better than him, then that's a guy that's taking food off his kid's table or his family's table, and that's how he stays the hungriest, and he wants to be the best of the best. And what did you take from that? What did you think about that? I was ready to run through a stinking brick wall with it.
Well, that's just the Dan Campbell thing, and I'm assuming, I don't know. I guess I don't know what clips you have prepared here, so I won't speak.
I just got
much.
a Terrion Arnold one.
That's what I'm saying though. There were two guys that stuck out to me in those media days that were just Dan Campbell guys, and it's that quote from him. There's one from Terrion Arnold. I'm assuming you pulled that one involving his mom.
Let's go to that. Actually, I've got a couple minutes of the Terrion Arnold clip, and we're gonna pause it in a couple spots and just kind of talk about what's going on here. So I just noticed some things with this clip. So we'll go ahead and play this Terrion Arnold clip here.
Ain't nobody like me. That's what went into it.
How did you feel about your first time now out there? What was it like, your emotions, and now going through NFL rookie minicamp practice?
Football always been football. Happy to be out here, man. And it's everything I thought I would be. Just learning from Coach Townsend and AG, man. I'm happy to be here, man. I mean, they're going to develop me into the man that I want to become, and also the player that everybody wants me to become. So I'm happy to be here.
All right, so I just wanted to pause there. We'll go back to it, but first thoughts of that clip. My first thoughts of that clip, and I'll let you give yours too. But he loves AG. You can see it on his face. I might not have given AG enough credit because I don't see what happens behind the scenes. But that dude's obviously a good coach, and people are like fawning over him. I mean,
someone give me my flowers, by the way, because I've been defending AG.
Okay. I'm admitting that I'm wrong without admitting that I'm wrong. Okay.
Someone give me the flowers because there's been so many times where it's just fire AG, and I'm like,
I've been one of those guys. I will say.
What does AG have to work with here, guys?
Yeah,
let's not fire him right away.
I've been one of those guys that said, I hope he gets a head coach job, and it wasn't because I was cheering for him. It's because I was cheering for him to go. But I agree with you. Is this maybe a make or break? I don't know this year. We'll see. But I think he's got the people he needs this time.
I don't think this is a make or break for him. I think this is only going to solidify him. I think he's going to be a head coach next year.
Which I might completely change my mind, and that might totally suck, honestly.
Well, I think the good thing is if we lose him, we've got so many guys behind him that can take it. I think the first guy that'll move up right now is Shep, the linebackers coach, and
yep.
I think behind him is a guy that they just brought in this year that they really like is that I don't know his name, I can't remember, but the defensive line coach they took from Tennessee.
Okay.
He seems to be somebody they like a lot. But, the good thing with AG is if we lose him, we do get the compensatory pick because he's a
African-American coach.
Well, yeah, but it's a minority. He's a minority coach, so...
Okay.
Yeah, African American he is, but it goes for all minority coaches.
Okay. So the thing, I'm just kind of pointing out, this is the personality that you want in a CB1 to me. You just look at this guy and he just exudes confidence. I mean, he's out there, and you'll see in a second. I've actually got where Rakestraw gets pulled in, and you can just tell one of these guys is an alpha. Like, you can just tell that Terrion Arnold is an alpha dog. Like, he is going to be a leader on this defense.
Yeah.
So I have thoughts of him and Hutch like leading this defense, and it drives me nuts because I'm super excited about it. So let's keep going with this video.
Nah. When I say ain't nobody like me, it's kind of like talking about the secondary. Obviously, last year in the
And
secondary,
in comes
we had ups and
Rakestraw there.
downs, but we're gonna be exciting. We're gonna be dynamic. We're gonna play fast, and ain't gonna be nobody like us. So when I say nobody like me, it ain't nobody like me.
You're the first outside cornerback that this franchise, that this regime has drafted. Obviously, there's confidence in you to be able to spend a pick on that. How confident are you that you are going to be one of the starting outside cornerbacks?
Well, first thing first, I gotta bring my brother into the cut. They drafted both of us.
Now I got a question though, Terrion. So now that you're a Lion, like, what's the first thing that you want to do as being in Detroit? Like, have you thought about that yet?
First thing I wanted to do was this, come and practice. So I mean, that's out the way.
That's a lie.
Next thing I want to do is
Just kidding.
catch a pick six in the stadium.
I have one more question. Is there any new language that you learned from Detroit yet?
Yeah, I gotta go get me some. Dang man, some. What's the name of the shades, man? I gotta go get me some of them. Yeah, I gotta get me some of them. After I catch a pick, I gotta put them on, but I gotta go get me some of them. That right there.
Are you more comfortable?
All right, so
Is
we'll pause
Ennis
it
from Detroit or something? Like,
I don't know, but what I take from this clip is, first of all, how well they work together already. But the thing that, like I said, drives me crazy about thinking about this is, look at the way that, first of all, Terrion comes in or brings Rakestraw in, and this is my brother. This is obviously one pride mentality. There it is. Love it. Already love the thought process there. But you can also see the fact that Rakestraw is getting pulled in, but he also understands the limelight that Terrion is under. Like, everybody sees Terrion Arnold, and Rakestraw steps back and, hey, I'm going to ask you some questions here. Like, that's crazy to me. This right here is a winning mentality for both of these guys.
That's just him being goofy, though. That's not even.
I know, but you
They
just
do
look
that all
at
the
it, and it's
time.
just I don't know. He tried
'cause
to pull him in.
It's good just because there's a sense of camaraderie
Right.
there already, which is good because if you have that in your defensive backfield, it's only going to make you stronger. And
Yep.
we already know that what Arnold has with Branch. We know that
For
they've
sure.
already got that
That's a
connection.
good point. Yep.
And then you pull Rakestraw in, that young core, if they all pan out, is going to be crazy for a few years, and maybe hopefully more than that, but
Right.
at least for the next few years.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll finish this up, and this is where we get to the clip that Brendan was talking about here.
On the left side or the right side on the outside?
Honestly, I'm more comfortable anywhere. But at the same time, just my competitiveness. That grows up in like my whole family. Like, even as a kid, when I used to beat my mom in racing, like I had to genuinely beat her. When we used to fight, when I was younger, just wrestling with her or playing around, like, man, I'll never forget. Like, one time my mom kicked my tooth out because we were just going at it so hard. So if my mom was out here right now and she lined up across me as a receiver, I would jam her into the dirt. That's just that's my mindset. And my mom knows that right now. But I mean, I just mean it a simple aspect of, like, football wise. That's just the way that I think and the way that I was brought up.
So yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's what
the
you were
part
talking
I was
about, correct?
talking about,
Yeah. So
that's funny.
I mean,
I think it's awesome that
it's a
he's
very good
says
point.
that.
He's obviously got charisma. He's got a good character. And I don't know. I guess he got his teeth kicked out by his mom, and so I guess he's got some grit going on with him too. So
He's also got some dance moves. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've seen his TikTok account.
yeah,
It's hilarious.
in the locker room.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
How did he get in the locker room that alone? I wonder if everybody was like,
I don't think he was alone.
Okay.
I'm just sure there was no one else in the shot, but
he did not care. He was
going for
going.
it.
Yep, he got it. So that was pretty good. But yeah, so that's kind of what we had there for that video. I just wanted to kind of show you guys that, and mainly to basically point out we've got an alpha dog here. We've got someone who's going to be a leader on this defense, and it seems like he's got it figured out. Obviously, there's going to be some speed bumps. We're going to hit some bumpy roads here with him because he is a rookie, but he's got that dog in him. There is no doubt about that. So one thing to mention, and I don't know anything else about this, so I'm just going to say one thing about it, and that's it. Dan Campbell was not at minicamp this weekend because of personal reasons. I don't know if you've seen anything more on that, but, obviously thoughts going to Dan Campbell there. Hopefully whatever he's going through is nothing too big. So uh, thinking about him on that. So let's go into our main event here, and we got 10 burning questions that we're going to ask each other, I guess, and kind of see where we're at here in post draft rookie minicamp before June 1st type feel here. So first question: what is the Lions' biggest strength what is the Lions' biggest strength going prior to June 1st right now? We could go player, we could go side of the ball, you could go coaching. What do you think is their biggest strength as an organization right now?
Well, I'm not even gonna go into the position or whatever. I'm just gonna say culture. I think that's their strongest thing, and I think if you don't have culture, you don't have anything, and I think that's the foundation where everything builds off of, and that's the strongest thing they have. And you could go into position groups and say like the offensive side of the ball is way more stacked than the defense is right now, or the offensive line, if you want to get even more in depth, is in a really really good place. But I just think it's the foundational piece of culture because everyone there is buying in. They seem to have that same mentality of they don't care who's lined up against or lined up across from them. They're going to beat them.
They will win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that battle will be won. Yeah, I basically had the same thing. Mine was going to be kind of the front office slash coaching at this point would be Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and all the guys that Dan and Brad have put into place here. Basically matching what you're saying with culture, though. The people that we have in place there are basically what builds this culture. Dan Campbell pushes the culture that he has built here, and he does not waver from that. To a fault almost sometimes, but he does not waver from the culture. And man, that is one thing that we've been missing from the Detroit Lions for however many years is an identity. And that is where it's at. That culture right now, we have an identity here, and that feels good. So, all right, question number 2 would actually be, what is the Lions' biggest weakness prior to June 1st? What do you think about that one?
I'm gonna keep laying off the actual product on the field just because of where we're at.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable evaluating and calling out position groups yet because we haven't seen what they could do yet. But I think, and this one might strike a few chords for some people, but know where I'm coming from when I say this. I think our biggest weakness is the game clock management and decision making in game from Dan Campbell. And that's not to say that he's a bad coach. What I'm saying here is when we get to like fourth downs, when we get to end of game situations, it seems like he's so invested in the game that he forgets about the details. And that's whether it's 10 extra seconds running off the clock where we need every second we can get, or whether it's and this one I'm going to bring up, but I'm disagreeing with myself a little bit. So the Dallas game, of course, you come up and you're trying that 2-point conversion at the end of the game. I thought that was the right decision to go for the 2-point.
Yep.
But you get it, and they throw it, and they call the penalty, and Decker didn't report, whatever. And so they back him up, and he goes for it again. Gets bailed out by a defensive penalty.
Moves it back up.
It moves it back up, and he goes for it. He goes for it 3 times in total. I agree with the first one, and I agree with the third one. The second one is where I have a problem because
tie the game.
The first one didn't work. You're like 15 yards out from the goal line. Just kick the extra point and play the extra minutes.
God dang, man, you're bringing up that damn Dallas game again.
Yeah, I know. That's just an example. I think
I
think it's just he's still only been a head coach for 3 seasons now, and he had a partial season in Miami where he was the interim for when Joe Philbin got canned midway through the season over there.
Yep.
So he's just not doesn't have the experience yet, and that's all stuff he's going to keep learning on. And I love the aggressive mindset. I don't have a problem with him going for it, faking punts and going for it on four. I don't have a problem with that. I just want to clean up a few of the things that are just common sense things that most head coaches, are they all know the general rule of what you do here and there.
Mhm.
I think he's just got a little bit to learn there.
So to build off of what you're asking, and to kind of ask you another question, do you think we get to the point? I know we both kind of agree on the aggressiveness. Like I said, it's a culture. You don't want to go away from the culture too much. Do you think with some of that experience that he gets, do you think he loses a little bit of that? Twofold question. Do you think he loses a little bit of that aggressiveness as he gets a little bit, more seasoned? I shouldn't say older, a little more seasoned. Does he lose a little bit of that aggressiveness? And the second part of that question is, do we get to a point where we are talented enough to where we don't need to be that aggressive? Are we just doing that because let's be honest, his first season and part of his second season, we had nothing to lose. He had nothing to lose. It's the truth. So
Yeah.
he was aggressive, and he's probably learned, and he's probably gained a little bit of, thought process and all of this stuff. Do you think either one of those things becomes true at some point?
I'll answer you in both aspects in one fell swoop. It's a no on both accounts.
Dan Campbell is who he is.
Dan Campbell is who he is, just like Andy Reid is who Andy Reid is.
Yeah.
Andy Reid has been a coach for how long? I doubt he's changed the way he approaches the game since he goes there. He might.
So you're saying though, like even with the talent that we have on this team, and we get to the point where, maybe we're up by 7 points or whatever. Like if it's
No.
we still do what
You
what
play
Dan
to win
Campbell's going to
that.
do.
You play
Okay.
to win that game, and that's what he
That
is-
might be a trademarked saying. You might not be able to say that.
what.
You play to win the game.
Oh. He is constantly wanting to put another nail in the coffin.
Yep.
So, and I don't think that's
That's a hell of a good coach, though. That's
Yeah.
what you want. We beg for that. I
yeah.
mean, you,
so
you do.
don't get conservative.
Yeah.
He won't be that guy that's going to get conservative unless it benefits him to be conservative.
Right.
So yeah.
Like in the Dallas game, the second try should have been an extra point.
Yeah,
So-
and maybe he doesn't do that. I would hope he starts to maybe deviate from
Learn
that
from it a little.
aggressiveness a little bit.
Yep.
But
That's excuse me. That's all you can really ask,
Yeah.
honestly, is just to grow and learn, and the team is doing that. So,
Mhm.
my answer, I did go with a weakness on this team, and I went with a player position, and you can probably guess what it's going to be because I am beating a dead horse here. But the kicker position, to me, I don't trust the kicker position. If we get into a spot where we are playing a team and we're down by 2 points or we're down by 3 points, and it comes down to a 54-yard field goal, if we put Patterson out there, Badgley, sorry. If we put Badgley out there, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling like I'm not feeling like
no,
we're gonna be
he's not
confident to
Justin
win this
Tucker.
game.
You're not going to put him out. He's not the closer.
well. I know somebody who is a closer and is a proven closer at this point and might be available soon. And it sure as heck better at least happen that he gets a shot because he has proven that he can close games. Now, he's closing games in a field that's got, maybe more like
We're talking
5,000
about
people.
Jake Bates, in case you guys aren't.
Everybody
aware.
knows, man. If you're a Lions fan and you're listening to this freaking podcast or you're watching the show, you know who the heck I'm talking about. We're talking about Jake Bates, Michigan Panthers, absolutely nailing stinking 50-some yard, 60-some yard field goals to win games and tie games and, hit it at the end of halftime and stuff. Give him a camp shot. Goodness gracious, we could use it. Give him a camp shot if he comes here. There's going to be other teams looking too. So, okay, moving on. We're going to go to question number 3 here. Do you think the Lions are favored in your mind to be the number 1 seed in the NFC coming into the playoffs? Do you think they're going? Do you foresee that happening?
No.
Okay,
Do I foresee it happening? I could see it happening.
it's possible. I'm
But
saying, do you think
right
that they're
now,
a
no.
runaway?
I
Okay.
don't think anyone, and rightfully so, I don't think anyone is taking the Lions over the 49ers right now. and they shouldn't right now because the last time we
Beat the
saw
best to be the
them,
best.
they were head to head and they
Yep.
lost.
Beat the
So
best to be the best.
the Niners are probably still favored to be that 1 seed, and I think the Lions are right there at 2, along with a combination of Philadelphia and Dallas. And honestly, I can't think of another NFC team that's really that high up there. The rest of them are kind of middle tier to middle high tier, where they're trying to break out of that.
This might shock you.
What?
I have the Lions at number 2, but the Cowboys and Philly aren't there. I actually think
The Rams, then?
I think the Rams and the Packers are going to be right there.
Well, the Rams are up there.
It might be a cold take, but I think
the
those two are
Rams-
going to end better.
The Rams are that mid-high tier I'm talking about, where they're trying to break back into what they were before, but there still is just questions to be answered there.
Do you have the Packers there, or are they lower than that?
I am
Take the Lions' love
still-
out of it a little bit,
I'm
but
still not convinced on the Packers. Like,
Okay.
I think Jordan Love has showed this year that he is capable of being a really good starting quarterback
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
But the question is, does that fall off at all? I know he's had a lot of time to learn, but this is essentially a rookie season for him.
that's true.
Does he have that sophomore slump? Are people going to figure him out now that they've played him for an entire season? Are those receivers going to continue to play beyond what they were expected to? I mean,
That's the sad part, is we're saying they played beyond what they're expected to. Christian Watson absolutely sucked on contested passes. He was hurt most of the time. It just
well, Christian
so,
Christian Watson has kind of fallen from grace. I'm not
Yeah.
even talking about him anymore. To me, he's an afterthought.
what do
in
you
that
have,
wide
Dobbs,
receiver
or
room.
what do you?
Romeo Dobbs is their number 1 receiver, and the number
Okay.
2 is Jaden Reed, and then their number 3 is
Oh,
that
Jaden Reed.
Dontavian Wicks.
Jaden Reed overperformed. That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
Jaden Reed, I wanted the Lions to draft that guy so bad. And I know he would have been kind of a same thing as what Amon-Ra is, but
He's
that
too
man
much
can
alike.
just play. I just don't know. To me he's one of the best receivers.
Yeah,
ever in this team.
I think I agree with you, but it's the same thing I told you with Roman Wilson. Honestly, I see just too much of Amon-Ra and Leaf both in that player. So
Yeah, but the thing with that is, you can have multiple of somebody on your team. It doesn't mean you can't put them all out there at once.
well, that's true. And like we've said, I mean, injuries happen or slumps happen or whatever too. Unless you're Amon-Ra, that never happens. But
Yeah.
Okay, so question number 4: is there any real competition in the NFC North? We kind of just started to touch on that. Or if we stay healthy, are the Lions a runaway with the North this
Man,
year?
Well, judging by that throw we saw from J.J. McCarthy in his rookie minicamp, I don't know if you saw that.
I
clip.
didn't see that. Not good.
They were on NFL, it was like NFL All Access or something, and they were doing like the rookie minicamp run through where they go to each place and they're
Mhm.
talking about what's happening.
Check in with everything.
Yeah,
Yep.
and they're showing Minnesota, and they show J.J. McCarthy throwing a ball to one of his coaches, and his coach is like sitting there like this, and he throws it to him, and the coach has to like jump out to like try and grab it one-handed, and it fell to the ground, and everyone was just freaking out about it.
So kind of like when you and I
Overreaction,
when you throw the
obviously.
ball to me, that kind of feeling, then, right? It was
Nah,
kind
whatever.
of.
I'm like Uncle Rico out there. I'm
Yeah, okay.
tossing that thing over the mountains over there.
Yeah. Shout out to Shelby High School. Coach would have put him in fourth quarter. We'd have had that state championship
No.
4 years
If
running.
I hadn't
So
got landed on by the biggest kid and broke my finger, I might have continued playing after the 7th grade,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
All right.
So talking about the NFC North, yeah, the Packers are going to be competition. They always are. The Bears are going to be competition, especially this year. That offense is going to be something to deal with. I still don't think their defense is anything to be worried about other
If
than
they stay healthy.
Montez and Jalen Johnson. Honestly,
if they
those two
stay
guys.
healthy.
What, their offense?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I know that
No,
goes
no.
without saying,
I'm
but
just
I'm
saying
just
they're dangerous altogether. But even if you take some of those pieces out, they're still dangerous. I would have felt a lot better if they hadn't got Odunze, but he takes that offense over the top.
I kind of agree with that, but it's also the same feeling that I have with Terrion. Like, he could be great. He could also be a rookie. I mean, there's going to be times where he's
Oh,
a
yeah.
rookie. So I don't know. So how do you rank it, and do you think we run away with it either way? Like, I know you're saying
don't
it's
think-
close, but
I don't know if we run away with it just because of we have the first place in the conference schedule this year, so we have a lot of tougher teams. We might not have like that 13 win, 14 win season or whatever. I think you're landing more around 11 or 12 wins, and I think you'll probably have at least one divisional opponent behind you at 9 or 10 wins somewhere in
Okay,
there.
so you got it pretty close then.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's not gonna come down to the wire, I don't think. It's just we've got to beat our divisional opponents.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. We have to win those games.
Okay.
The Vikings I'm not worried about whatsoever.
I think I don't think I'm worried about the Vikings. I don't want to worry about the Vikings either way. But the Bears, to me, the Bears are overconfident right now, and it's because of their quarterback, and he's overconfident. I think he's going to come in there and he's going to do one of two things. He's either going to absolutely kill it because he's so confident, or he's going to fall from grace so dang hard that he'll be in this league for about 2 years and he'll be out.
I don't think it's gonna be either extreme. I think he's gonna play okay.
Okay.
I just think he's gonna be okay, and people are gonna think that's a great disappointment because he's playing okay.
Right. You don't see him being so.
He's going to be what Justin Fields was for the Bears,
How about
only
this?
with an arm and without the
How
legs.
about
so
this?
The inverse of
How about
what
this?
Fields was.
Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, rookie year. Which one is he going to be closer to?
That's a
tough
pretty
question.
drastic, like neither. Like
I'm not saying like which one is he going to match. I'm saying which one is he going to be closer to. I
think
know
he's gonna
that's like
be,
two.
I like him. I like him closer to CJ, but not by much. Like
Okay.
I think he's gonna be. If there's a midway point between Bryce Young and CJ, I think he's just over that midway point.
Are you doing that because of his abilities or just simply because of the weapons that he has?
Both. I think he's got
Okay,
better abilities
okay.
than Bryce Young. He's got better athletic intangibles to start out with, and he's got a lot better of a situation that he's landed in than Bryce landed
Right.
in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He's got a better situation than what CJ Stroud landed in.
Oh, come on. They had Nico, man. No, I know. They had Nico and Tank, but Tank was also
And
unproven
their
too. So
defense was poop, and their offense was poop.
their running game did not do very well, I don't think. So okay. Let's. I guess I'll answer that question. I didn't really answer that. I would say we don't run away with it. I think I'm in the same boat as you are. I think Vikings bottom, Bears a little bit higher. I think it's going to be between Green Bay and us, and it's all gonna ride on Jordan Love's shoulders on if it's close or not. We still win the North, though. I'm pretty positive of that. So, barring injuries, like we said. So, all right. Brad Holmes, this is number 5. Brad Holmes took to 97, won the ticket, and I don't know why anybody on the Lions staff would want to go on that terrible show.
Because it's the only radio station around there, really, that
Gross.
does that. So it's like the only option, and people unfortunately still listen to it.
I can think of about, radio, that's fine. I'm not even talking about us. I can think about like 10 other places I would rather hear him talking to than 97.1. But anyways, he took to the ticket this week to say Goff has earned the extension and that both sides are working really, really hard, but these things just take time. Are you buying or selling those comments?
I'm buying them. I mean, we've not seen anything to say that they haven't been working towards an extension and that they weren't close. I mean, Adam Schefter came out after Panay and Amon-Ra got their extension and said that there was no imminent deal, but that just means that they weren't close enough to be within striking distance. That might have improved since then. To me, I think Brad Holmes is realistic and he sees what's coming out of college in the next few years and what might happen free agent wise. There's not really much that you're going to be able to do to upgrade from a Goff. I think you can get someone that's as good as Goff, but you're probably going to still pay him a ton of money. So you might as well just pay the guy that's proven he can do it with your team.
Yeah, I agree. I'm buying his comments. I do think they're working really hard with it. The thing that makes me a little concerned is we did this last year. This is the same go around that we did last year with Goff, or Goff's camp. I shouldn't say Goff. Goff has made it obvious he wants to be here, but this is the same go around that we that we did with them, and it's a little nerve-wracking, but I trust Brad Holmes, so I'm not going to get too worried. I think that they have a plan in place. They probably have a number, and they just need to make sure that everything makes sense for them down the road. They don't want to throw too much money at him on the front end. They want to make sure that it's a player-friendly deal for him, but it's also something that we can get out of, or something that benefits us if we need to. So I think that's the case. I also agree with you. Who else are you going to find that's better than Goff? You're not, because he was basically a top, in any stat, pretty much. He was in top 3 to 5 this last year. Uh, I don't think you find anybody better than him. You guys stop with the stinking Hendon Hooker stuff, because the dude's not ready. He hasn't played anything in the NFL. You guys can't say that we need to get rid of Goff for Hendon Hooker, because you don't know that.
Oh, we're gonna go through a year when it's time to move to Hendon Hooker, assuming that's the route we go. It's gonna be a year of growing.
Yeah.
He's has not played a live snap of NFL football yet.
No, he didn't even play in the preseason.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he hasn't done anything.
I'm excited to see what
Hendon
he
Hooker's
does.
a good athlete, and I think he's going to be good. I think he's got potential to be good. But stop with the let's not get Goff because we got Hendon Hooker. Cut that out
I'm excited
now.
to see
That's crazy.
Hendon Hooker this preseason, though. I'm really excited to
yeah.
see what he can do.
Yep.
But,
He's going to be about as exciting as Teddy Two Gloves was in the preseason. So.
I was not that excited about Teddy Bridgewater. The most exciting thing about Teddy Bridgewater was he's wearing like a number in the 50s.
Number 50. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So,
that jersey was happening.
Yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
All right, let's go to number 6. If the Lions don't get a deal done, this is just obviously we both said we think it happens, but if they don't with Goff before the season, what are the chances he stays with them after 24-25? So he's got this last year on his contract. It's possible that his camp is betting on him. We're close to a Super Bowl team. It's possible that his camp is demanding some money, or saying we'll wait until next year and we're going to prove it, and then get some more money. What do you think his chances are that he's in Detroit next year if it doesn't get done prior to the season?
You're talking this coming season?
Mm-hmm.
100% he's staying here.
Okay.
I don't think there's any doubt. To me, it makes no sense. He doesn't have the same leverage as like a superstar wide receiver has when they hold out from camp and that. He's not gonna get that. The only thing that could happen.
Hold on. Does he have 2 years left on his contract? He's got 1 left. This is a contract year, I think.
I can't tell you. You posed the question.
I know, but you're making it sound like he's got multiple years. You think he's coming back no matter what.
No. What I'm saying is the only way he's got this next year under contract at least. We know that for sure.
Right.
The only way he wouldn't be on the team this season is if they were to trade him.
Whoa. Sorry. I'm saying after this season. He plays this season out. They don't get a deal done.
Just asked you.
Okay, well, I'm not listening to you apparently. I don't know. Okay, listen. Okay. If they don't get a deal done before this year, before the season starts, does he play out the entire season with the Lions, and then does he end up back on the Lions still, do you think? They get a deal done after the end of the year, or do you think that he might test free agency and move on?
To me, if they don't get a deal done before this year, that tells me something of how they value him, and then it's all going to be based on how he plays this season. If he plays well this coming season, yes, he'll be back with the team. If he suffers some kind of lapse and play and the Lions fall out of the playoffs, God forbid, he might be gone.
Not happening.
And at that point, though, I wouldn't love that, because at that point you're looking at either going to the draft and trying to land a guy like Quinn Ewers or Shedeur Sanders,
Spit that one out, why don't you?
or you're going to free agency and you're going to try and get a guy like Russell Wilson or Justin Fields or Jimmy Garoppolo or
you roll with Hendon Hooker
if they decide to let him go, or you roll with Hendon Hooker. And I don't.
None of
love
those options
any of
sound
those
good.
options.
Not with the class that's coming in this year. Not with like you're saying, the free agents that will be available. We've already said it. Goff, there's not going to be a better option than Goff. There just won't be. So I think I think I've said this in a few episodes back. I almost see them betting on him, or them telling Goff's camp telling Goff to bet on himself. Uh,
Well, that's just that would happen if they get to a point where they're not getting the numbers they want. Because
which
then they'll say,
which could be happening right now behind the scenes, is what I'm saying.
Because then what they're gonna say is what his camp will say to them is, they're not matching what you're worth now. Imagine what you're gonna be worth
With a
after
Super
this
Bowl
season, and then
MVP.
they're gonna have to pay you.
Yep, exactly. If he ends up with a league MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, whatever it is, I'm not saying that'll definitely happen, but there's that chance that, if you roll the dice, he could not double his pay or anything, but he could make a lot more than probably what they're offering realistically. So, yeah, so it could be a timing thing too. It could be they're talking, a certain amount of years they want to lock him up, and he wants the chance to restructure or whatever if they do that Super Bowl.
It seems
so
like the thing that always hangs these things up though is guaranteed money. So we'll see where they're at with that. It might just be that they're not as willing to give him the Kirk Cousins type contract where he's getting 100-some million guaranteed.
that's crazy. That's so crazy. And then you go, never mind. Then you draft a quarterback with your
Right.
first pick. Anyway,
And you draft Big Phoenix Energy.
yeah, shout out RG3 on that one.
That was Desmond Howard, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, he was doing college
yeah.
game days.
RG3.
Big Phoenix Energy.
RG3 was the orgy in the end zone for Michigan's game.
Mhm.
So I had a short question, or like an off question there that basically does his chances go up or down if the Lions win it all, which we've kind of touched on. So we'll move on to number 7 here. The Lions look on paper to have improved their pass defense and their run defense, actually, which was awesome last year. Which do you think performs better statistically speaking this season, a pass defense or run defense? And I know we've got a lot of question marks, but
Run defense.
you think so? You think they stick with what they got?
The run defense has proven to be good, and the passing defense has proven to be bad. So the only way that passing defense surpasses the running defense is if we get some spectacular rookie play, and I'm just not willing to bet on that yet.
Okay.
Do I think that it very well could be even that we see both units play really well? Yes, but
We're
I've
hoping
seen
for
the
it.
run defense be good for the past 2 years, and last year nobody was running the ball on us.
Right.
And we didn't really lose anybody other than Benito Jones, and we got Broderick Martin. I understand we don't know what we have in him yet, and he underwhelmed when he played last season, but he's a big boy. You're going to run against him, you're not going to get very far. And you got DJ Reader in there still, and you got Aleem McNeil in there, and you got the commish who's going to play a little bit of inside. You got the edges that are going to be shut down by Hutch, Houston, Davenport, whoever's out there. So
Do you think do you think the reason NFC North teams all did something at running back in free agency is because of our run defense? Do you think that was part of it? They're trying to play catch up a little bit?
I don't know. I honestly, I am so confused by what happened with the running backs in our
It still
division.
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, even going back to last year and how that fed into this year, like the Bears let go of Montgomery only to come back this year and get DeAndre Swift.
The Vikings took Cam Akers, didn't even use him.
Yeah, the Vikings like let Dalvin Cook go, which they could have just restructured his contract or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
but they let him go and bet on Alexander Madison, who was no longer with the team because he was just so bad as a running back 1, and then they pick up Green Bay's sloppy seconds of Aaron Jones, who for some reason Green Bay decided to get rid of, and then went out and paid Josh Jacobs even more money.
Yeah, I don't get that one. That one's the Swift one is the biggest question. That's obviously the money they gave Swift is the biggest question to me. But the letting Aaron Jones go, I don't understand that one. That dude was literally the spark that kept that offense going. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand what they were thinking there.
I don't
get
either,
it.
and
I love it. But
the reason I can say this is because I'm not concerned about anyone against our run defense, but I just want to see Aaron Jones tear apart the Packers on the Vikings. I think it's going to be hilarious.
well, I mean, you cheer for that anyway. I mean, we cheered for Monty every time he played against the Bears. You know what I mean? And they always seem to step a level up. It's kind
That's
of like
different.
a Michigan State game or
A
whatever.
little bit
Everybody
different
steps a
because
level up.
he's on your team, though. I'm just saying,
Right. No, I know.
nobody
I
with a
know.
vested interest at all in what their players do stat wise.
Hmm.
I think it'd be hilarious for the Packers to spend so much money on Josh Jacobs only to see Aaron Jones outperform and just cut them up.
And I'm not taking anything away from Josh Jacobs. I've taken him I think twice in the last 2 years for fantasy football, and yeah, he let me down a little bit, but he's actually a really good like flash player. Like he makes some huge. It seems like he'll have like
That's his problem.
10 runs of nothing, and then all of a sudden it's a 60-yard touchdown
That's the
rip.
problem with him is he's
Yeah.
inconsistent.
Yep.
He has one big play that accounts for 90% of his stats.
Right, and you're not going to do that against the Lions' run defense. It's not going to happen. I mean,
won't
maybe
get
you'll get
chipped.
one or two, but it's you've got to
You
like
won't
you're
get-
saying, you've got to get those 5-6 yard runs,
it's
and
rare
he
you're
doesn't.
going to get anything over like 30 yards
Yeah.
on one play
Yep.
against the Lions.
Yep. All right. Where are we at? Let's see. I think we're on 8 now. Yeah. So, do you see Jamison Williams, taking that number 2 wide receiver spot and solidifying himself as a number 2 receiver? What would you say is his floor and what is his ceiling? I would say, I mean, you could do it as far as catches, as far as I don't know, yards, whatever you want to do. What do you see Jamo this year? What do you see him as?
I think he's got to solidify himself as that wide receiver too. He's got to. If he doesn't, his status with this team is in question. If he
Yeah.
does not establish himself this year, he is going to be traded. Mark my words. He will be shipped out of that building.
The worst part is, and I've been a JMO doubter in the past. I'm not anymore. After what I saw last year, he's got flashes. The worst part about it is he's gonna have trade value, and we're gonna trade him away, and we've seen it in Detroit sports all over the place. Nick Castellanos, Joey Harrington had a couple good
Although
games.
Nick Castellanos is playing really bad right now.
Really bad right now, but I'm saying when we traded him or we let him go, I don't remember if it was I think it was a trade.
Yeah, I think it was too.
Okay. What did he do? Justin Verlander, what did he do? I mean, all he did was win a World Series. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah. Well, it
obviously,
sucks to
obviously,
see-
your doors and windows close on certain teams, but it would suck to I think you were about to say, it would suck to see him go somewhere else, and
succeed.
it would be good to see him succeed as a player, but it would suck to see him succeed not on the Lions.
Well, yeah, because then
it could
you
happen.
question why it wasn't happening for us.
Is it because of? But it could be a bad fit. It could be, you know what I mean? Like maybe he never gets that
yeah.
chemistry with Goff
Well,
or whatever.
let's sit on that one because we don't need to be that's some negative energy we're feeding into right there.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I'm
not saying. I'm just saying I don't want to be those people that are like, oh well, he's gonna be gone and we're gonna be suffering.
No. I'm actually what I just want to make. I know you're saying let's sit on that one, but I want to make sure that it's clear what I'm saying. I don't want to see JMO go. I'm hoping that he shows up and shows out. That's I'm hoping for it.
I know. In terms of the ceiling, I think I
Sorry.
don't think we're gonna be hovering around like a number of like 1,000 yards receiving. I think a good spot for him is like 60 to 70 catches, and like 700 yards receiving somewhere in there with 5 to 6 receiving touchdowns,
Mhm.
and then I'd like to see like between 150 to 300 rushing yards just on the touches that he gets on end rounds and that, and I think that's good enough. If he gets close to 800, 900 all-purpose yards, I'm happy with that.
Are you seeing him as like a Cordarrelle Patterson? I never say his name right, you guys. I'm
Cordarrelle
sorry.
Patterson.
Yeah. Are you seeing him as that kind of like gadget type player, but also got can actually catch the ball? No.
No.
Not that far into that.
No. I see him more as Debo Samuel. And Debo Samuel's not the same as Cordarrelle Patterson.
I know.
Debo Samuel,
I
but
know.
better and
I know.
not getting injured all the time. No, I see more of as a Debo Samuel type where he's going to live primarily as a receiver, but he's going to have these design plays that shift him around and confuse the defense and make splash plays because they're confused.
So, a lot of people are honing in on that wide receiver 3 spot, and I don't know if I've ever seen a team or a fan base as worried about a wide receiver 3 spot as the Lions fan base has been right now. we got to remember, first of all, we got Antoine Green last year. He's no slouch. I mean, he was a rookie. He didn't get too much playing time, but he's no slouch. He was really good for North Carolina. We got Traquan Smith, who's a possibility, maybe a wide receiver 3. We got Peoples Jones, who came back. Like, I mean, we got Leaf, we got Khalif Raymond. I mean, there's let's not worry about that wide receiver room. I tend to think that we need to grab somebody else or whatever, but now that I look at that wide receiver room, that's a pretty stacked wide receiver room. That's a deep wide receiver room.
Keep your eyes on the undrafted free agents too.
Yes, we did
get Isaiah Williams out of
Yep,
Illinois,
and we paid him.
and we got Jalen Calhoun out of Duke.
Yep.
Don't know much. I know Williams had a pretty successful year at Illinois this past year, but
Mhm.
there's always seems to be a few undrafted free agents that start to impress and work their way into the conversation of making that 53 man. We had quite a few wide receivers who were in the conversation last year.
I mean, was it Kennedy was one last year?
Yeah, but there was that
Which we've got him in camp again.
There was that undrafted free agent. I don't remember who it was, but I was cheering for him. I can't remember his name for the life of me right now, but
yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but
yeah.
So yeah, and let's to keep going on the wide receiver 3 thing. Let's not discredit what our running back room can do. So you got Gibbs, you've got Sion Vaki now, who is an option. You've got Craig Reynolds, who's still an option. Monty's obviously kind of more of the bruiser, but you've got those 3 guys that are options. You've got an all-pro tight end. I mean, coming on only his second year. I mean,
you were willing to match a $12 million offer sheet for.
That too, and he's a bruiser too. But you've also got, I'm gonna say it, and you're gonna roll your eyes, but we've got Shane Zylstra, who was looking promising. He might not be great, he might not be amazing, but it's a possibility. I'm just saying, we're deeper than people are thinking.
Going to make the team. If I'm
that's a good thing though. That's what I'm getting at. We're deeper than people are giving us credit for.
Yeah.
Than the fan base seems to give us credit for. I think we're deeper than we think.
Zylstra will battle for a tight end 3 spot. It's just going to come down to probably between him and James Mitchell and who they like better. But we'll see. Anyway,
okay.
I like Traquan Smith. He was really good with the Saints a few years back. He was honestly, when Michael Thomas was in his prime, he was battling with him for wide receiver 1 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
So he's good. It's just, can he return to form?
Yeah.
Antoine Green is unproven rookie, but he's got potential. We'll see what we get out of both of them.
And those of you keeping track, that was actually our question 9 was, are people overlooking Traquan Smith and Antoine Green, and really honestly just the depth that we have around the starters. I think I'm saying we as a fan base, because I've done it too, we tend to overlook the depth that we have. Maybe they're not big flashy names, like we don't have an Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and McCaffrey, you know what I mean? But we've got those players that realistically they're younger than those guys, but we might end up having the players that are those big names in 2-3 years. You know what I mean? So, yeah. All right. Moving on to number 10. This is the last question we have on our main event here. What would you say are Marcus Davenport and Matthew Betts? This has been a big one. I've seen a lot of people questioning why we have them. What are we doing with them? We didn't get any better. I've seen one person in particular that's just beating this one dead. Marcus Davenport and Matthew Betts, you know who I'm talking about. What are the chances of them seeing significant playing time, and what's your take on their possibilities, I guess?
Well, Marcus Davenport has a higher chance of seeing playing time. It's just the question mark of health with him. He's proven to be a good pro player. He was a first round pick, but he just cannot stay healthy. If he stays healthy, he's going to see a lot of playing time. He's going to see a good rotation with Kaminsky and Houston and wherever they want to slot him in there. He'll see a lot. Betts, I think he'll make.
Is he a 53?
I think he makes the 53 roster. So? But the thing with him is it's going to be. He might be like a Broderick Martin, where he sees a lot of healthy scratches during the year. And that's just because he's got a large learning curve coming from Canadian Football League to the National Football League. I still think he can be really good. You don't just lead a professional football league in sacks and then not be good.
What did he have, like 18 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Because I remember he's at the rookie minicamp. I think you actually told me that, and then I went and actually saw some of his video. I can't remember who was talking about him, but they said, the Lions are hoping that he gets 18 sacks for Lions. Not happening this year. Already telling you guys, not happening. But I think, if you're going to keep somebody on the 53 and he's going to be a healthy scratch or whatever, I think obviously you've got a plan for him, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you've at least got thoughts. So he might see some playing time, like you're saying, kind of like Broderick Martin, kind of like a throw-in piece just to get his feet wet, so to speak. So
we need to all prepare ourselves too. There's going to be some sacrifices that are going to have to be made once these cuts come around because
yeah, it's gonna be tough, honestly.
I the way I'm seeing it right now, Levi O is off this team right now.
I'm just kidding.
That upset about Levi O.
I'm just kidding.
No, to me, he's the odd man out, and he's got health issues. It's either, I mean, I could see them bouncing him. I could see them bouncing Davenport if he's not what they expected. I could see them bouncing, God forbid they bounce the commish. It could happen. They could. All of these guys are essentially rental depth players that could get bounced should they get outplayed.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like you're saying, Davenport. I mean, it's a good thing to have. We're going back to depth, you guys. It's a good problem to have because Davenport. I'm saying like one injury, one tweaked ankle, whatever, and he could be the one that's out because they know he's got injury history. You know, the commish, that would suck for Kaminsky to go, but we weren't even sure that he was coming back this year anyway. So even just having him back as an option is nice. So yeah, I agree with you.
I think wrapping up this main event, I just want to say one guy keep your eye on in this mini camp summertime area is going to be safety Brandon Joseph. Hearing a lot of good things about him, and he was an undrafted free agent last year. That was kind of a shock that he was an undrafted free agent.
And actually, while we're talking about this rookie minicamp and what's going on right there right now, I saw that they are easing Rakestraw into a possible nickelback.
Look at this photograph.
I literally said and paused because I knew that was coming. I'm not sure. I didn't know that was the one that was coming, but I knew one was coming. So what I'm saying is,
I'm through with standing in line. To clubs I'll never get in.
All right. What I'm saying is the same thing I wanted from Omar Brown, and I posted on our X. The one person I wanted was Omar Brown as a safety out of Nebraska because I thought he would be a really good nickel player. I'm not gonna say that again. I'm not gonna let you go through the discography of
rock star.
But seeing Rakestraw do that also opens up Brian Branch to playing some more safety. We've obviously got Vaki, which we're not sure of, but it's cool to see that they're finding places to move people around because that just means the same thing. The best ability is availability. We've heard it over and over again. We were going to have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or however many guys in the backfield that can play 3 or 4 different positions, and that is a really healthy problem to have. So I'm excited about that. So it was good to hear that he's being eased into nickel spot.
Okay, moving on.
All right. So now we're going to move into That Was Random, and we've got a short one because there's not a whole lot of random stuff going on.
I got one more to throw in once we're done with yours.
Okay.
So.
Rashee Rice, back in the news.
Yep.
Monday, May 6th, he's, as far as I knew, he was being investigated for allegedly striking a camera person at a club. And then I think I also saw something about him being, like, teams knowing before they drafted that he was something about firing a gun somewhere or something. I don't know exactly that whole story, but
I don't know. To me, this just has problem child written all over it. This is not. He's going to be another Josh Gordon. And Josh Gordon was just smoking marijuana, which is not going to be as big of a deal as it was when it's unfortunate that he did that.
You're not comparing the crimes, you're comparing the player and the troubles that he gets into.
Yeah. It's just like one thing after another, and you think he's going to be this great thing, and he shows flashes and shows he's a great player on the field, but then he has
Just can't
something happen off the field.
Can't gotta get out of his own way,
Yeah.
you know. So I think they went and got Zay Jones thinking that they might need to replace Rashee Rice. Realistically, I think that's what happened. So they took Zay Jones, by the way. But
I didn't see that he signed there, so that's a good.
I believe so, or I don't know, he was close to
Visited or
signing.
something?
Yep, yep. All right. So what's your other one?
We got our look at the NCAA football cover.
Oh man, dude, you're gonna piss off half the people listening. Let's go. Let's do it.
So we haven't seen anything about a cover till this past week. It was revealed on PlayStation's store. They revealed the deluxe, or they had a new artwork for their deluxe NCAA football upcoming game coming out in July, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a cover of basically you see a stadium in the background, and it's like the players coming out of the tunnel, but the players are players from every single college football program in the country. You can just see helmets in the distance, but then up near the front you have, Carson Beck from Georgia is hidden in there. You have
Shedeur.
Sorry.
Yep.
No, it wasn't Shedeur. It was
Travis
Hunter.
Travis Hunter. Yep.
Travis Hunter's right
Yep,
up there.
Yep.
You've got who was the one to the left? It was Travis Hunter, and there was one more. Do you remember who it was?
Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers from
Yep,
Texas.
Yep.
So we got to look at some of the stars, but then front and center was Donovan Edwards throwing up
Old Dono.
throwing up the finger up to the sky.
The Don, baby.
I honestly, when I first saw it, fire. I loved it. I thought it was exactly what we needed. We needed something that after being without this game for so long, we needed something that encompassed everybody. Something that brought everyone in. And this does exactly that, but it also allows us to pay respect to the
national
champions who is Michigan.
And you guys, there's something to be said about this. I know, like, Michigan State fans, Ohio State fans, everybody else is mad. I get that. I understand where you guys are coming from. I really do. I'm a Michigan fan, so I'm happy about it. But it also ties together the fact that we've been waiting for 11 stinking years to get this thing. And it's true. The last person on it was a Michigan player, Shoelace Robinson. It just ties it all together. It just does. And it makes sense because they did win the national championship. And you can be upset about that, but it happened. Whatever. It just makes sense that he's on the front, realistically. I'm glad it wasn't like Corum or McCarthy or whatever, like people were saying, because they're not even in the game.
The thing I was hoping for was...
And you can't put Orgy on the front of the game.
No. Well, they were going to pick the best player off Michigan, and it was honestly going to either be him or Will Johnson. Those are the only ones you could...
that would have been sick.
Make an
Maybe
argument
he's
for.
on the regular one.
People don't know Will Johnson as much as they do.
They will.
Edward.
They will.
I know. But
I like the fact. Sorry, not to cut you off, but I just want to get this out. I like the fact that Travis Hunter, out of anybody on Colorado, was the one down there. I like that.
It. He's an athlete.
Yep.
Absolute star for that.
Yep.
But
he's Sion Vaki times 10.
To me, when I was thinking about this cover before Michigan winning the national championship, I thought it had to be a nod to all of the guys who had won the Heisman since the last one came out. Maybe we saw
cool
them
too.
featured there. Obviously, that didn't happen. And with Michigan winning the national championship, it only makes sense for them to pick up where they left off and have a Michigan man be the front and center guy for the cover. It can't go any other way, and you can be mad about it, but just know that you're stupid. I don't.
I'm not saying that. I'm just letting you guys know I did not.
I don't remember what the guy's name is. There's an Ohio State fan on Barstool who does a podcast though, and he's like, "This is the worst cover ever." Like I would rather seen these guys with like action shots on the cover.
No, I would say. It doesn't matter if there was a Michigan player in there. I would even say if there was a state player right there where Donovan Edwards is. Obviously, this makes sense, but the way they did it is sick. I don't care who it is. I'm really shocked, man. We see a Texas guy there. It says Ewers on the back. I thought it would say Manning maybe. He's still not in the game, by the way.
Notice how we don't see a Michigan State guy anywhere in there. Just note that.
They're somewhere in there.
So the rumors are that they've actually got, what was their last head coach's name?
Who?
The State, the guy that got fired. What was his name again?
From State?
Tuck.
Oh, yeah.
Rumors is he's off to the side making a phone call to one of his mistresses.
You are trouble, man. You are a problem. He's a real problem. Oh, man.
That's where I'm gonna leave you guys. I got nothing else to say.
And we are dropping followers. No, it's all in good fun. All right, so let's close this episode up. So our next episode, we will cover the schedule release because we did hear that that's supposed to be out, I think, next Wednesday. So we'll probably talk about who we're going to be playing and just some thoughts there. Not going to go too in depth because we still don't even know who we are going to put on the field, essentially. So we will be touching on that next week. We'll get some feedback. And then we're still running our giveaway. I do want to really, man, you are such a problem. I do want to point out the giveaway that we're running. So we do have 4 things that we're giving away once we reach 500 followers on Twitter here. We got a $100 gift card to NFL Shop. We've got the Lions, the card here that I'm giving away. It's a signed Herman Moore card. I've literally got it here. We're giving away a Righteous Felon Jerky care package. The bag that you see there is basically what we give. But then Mr. Brad Holmes Bulge, I feel like I give him a shout out every single time we are on here. He's actually giving away a full-sized helmet signed by The Problem, James Houston. So thank you so much for that, dude. Like, that's really cool. We really appreciate that kind of stuff, and we will pay it forward. We'll get you back on that too. So
yeah, just so you know, don't try to come from the jerky because KT's already got her name on that on X. And by the way, KT, I've got a bone to pick with you because I walked into Meijer yesterday looking for Ruby Red.
Hold on. Pause just a second. Let's get you up on your soapbox. Okay, go ahead.
I walked into Meijer the other day, scouring the shelves for Ruby Red because you told me that it would be there. And what do I find but an empty slot, and then all right next to it is Diet Squirt? What is this? You told me it was going to be there. This cup is empty. I'm done with it. I'm done.
All right. So
just know, you better, I don't know what you're going to do to make it up, but you better do something.
Buy some more jerky because we made like $1.80 on.
Don't feel the need to buy more jerky.
I'm just kidding. No, you do need to let us know how it went, though. We got to know what you thought of that, especially Truffalo Bill. Like I said in the opening, that is the best. So, I also wanted to point out that we are on YouTube. We've been on YouTube for a few episodes, and we're trying to grow our audience there as well. So the subscribers there, if we can get 500 subscribers, we're a long ways away. But if we can get 500 subscribers there, we're gonna give away this guy, and it's hard to see because there's a glare. But it's a PSA graded 9 Jameson Williams numbered out of 25 rookie card.
If you want to see more better shots of those, go to our X account, Lions Basement Banner Show, and you'll see all of those in their full glory.
Yep, and you can see in the background of both of us, I've got some stuff too. Eventually we'll give away some other things. There's a lot of cards up here that I collect. We're going to give away Brendan's Barry Sanders plaque.
I mean,
no, we're not. We're not.
I'm pretty sure Mom and Dad bought that for me at an art fair way back in the day.
We're not giving that away. It's too cool. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, that's his. I got some cards that we'll give away. We've got some other things. It sounds like there's going to be some Lions signing some things around us, so we're going to go probably get some stuff that we can give away too. So the more we grow our following, the more we'll be able to do this kind of stuff, and we'll keep going. So I think that's our episode, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep, let's go. Roll Tide.
Go Lions, baby.
Go Lions.